Now I'm going to put it all together, demonstrate jamming technique, gear placement, and lead this crack climb. One thing to notice, we've talked about footwork and different kinds of hand and finger jams. When you're watching this, think about body position, and the two main positions you're going to see me in are centered over the crack, both hands and both feet in the crack, butt sticking out in the old Stinkbug posture. And oftentimes I'll have one hand and one foot in the crack, and I'll be flagging the other foot and sometimes palming the rock with the other hand. So you'll see both of those as I lead this. I also want to talk a little bit about gear and protecting yourself, especially right off the ground. So before I leave the safety of this block, I'm going to get in a piece. A little bit higher there is better. That'll protect me for longer from that ground fall that you don't want. Cool. So my belayer is attentive, not too much slack in the system. Good piece keeping me from decking. And initially, I'm getting finger locks, but climbing around the crack with my feet. So I'm in a pretty standard slab climbing stance, hips over heels, feet wide apart. At this point, speaking of protection and keeping yourself safe from a ground fall, which is really how you're going to get hurt in this context, if this were a cruxy section of this crack, I'd want to get in a second piece right away, because otherwise I just have one piece of gear between me and a serious fall. In this case, this section is not cruxy, and it's going to work better for me to make a couple more moves on nice holds. Just being careful, because there is only one piece between me and the ground. And I can get my second piece right there. Cool, so now I've got really still just one piece between me and the ground as I go up a little higher, because that one's not doing much for me once I go up. So you'll see I'll place another piece and then another one in short order. Now I'm using the techniques we talked about in the footwork section. In this case, foot straight into the crack, kind of smearing on the crack, not fully jamming my foot. Great jams for my hands. At any point, I can hang on a straight arm and find a nice resting stance, left foot, left arm, or here's a great stance where I'm on my right foot and right arm, in which case I want to flag my left foot for balance. Now I'm twisting my toe in the crack, flagging my right foot. It's also really nice to find resting positions where you're on one hand and the opposite foot like this. Probably time to place another piece before I get too high above that last one. That's good. Ooh, perfect hand jam there. That's nice. So I'm twisting my toes into the crack right there, which is uncomfortable. So I'm going to go ahead and move past that, get on the next hold. And here's another nice resting stance. Right foot squarely in the crack, nested comfortably in the crack in that neutral alignment. And I've got a hand jam that feels like you could do pull-ups on it. Here the crack narrows. It goes from 2 inches, which is perfect hands, to 1 inch. So I'm only getting part of my hand in there, but that's a super good foot jam. So yeah, I'm switching from left side to right side, or sometimes balancing left foot and right hand, or vice versa. Always trying to hang on my bones. What I see a lot of inexperienced crack climbers doing is finding good jams, but then really muscling on them. As soon as you start engaging that biceps muscle, you're burning extra energy and also pulling yourself forward, potentially making your feet less solid. That foot was solid. So yeah, you want to hang on a straight arm as much as possible and think about centering yourself on the crack, hips over heels, and oftentimes that does mean flagging that other foot like so. So you can center your weight like that. And that's pretty comfortable. So again, left foot in, right foot out. One thing to know about hand jams and moving in a straight in crack is that thumb up jam is useful for longer. That thumb up jam is still good all the way down to below my waist, versus if I jam thumb down there, which also works, and in some situations actually feels more solid, it's just a little harder to move off of. That's twisting my arm at an awkward angle by the time it's at chest level. And here I am gonna place gear with my left hand just because that's the stance I ended up in. So yeah, I like that thumb up jam because I can bring it all the way down to waist level, which gets me to the nice hold here. Stepping out on the face. Now we come to a section of straight in crack climbing. I'm gonna do what's called the Stinkbug. Both feet, both hands in the crack, butt sticking out. This bends your arms at odd angles as you stick your butt out and center your body. Move a hand, move a foot, move a hand, move a foot. When you climb in certain places, you do this for miles and you just get to really like the rhythm of it. There's not much to think about. Jam the hand, jam the feet, move the hands. So we're talking about crack climbing. One thing I want to make clear is people who want to practice climbing splitter cracks and doing the same move in the same crack size over and over again are more drawn to places like Indian Creek near the Canyonlands National Park in Utah, or obviously Yosemite Valley is really where you go to climb big, long splitter cracks. Joshua Tree is a great place to learn and teach crack climbing, but the cracks here tend to be wavy and discontinuous, and you'll find yourself using many different sizes of cam and many different crack climbing techniques in a single pitch, which in a way makes it a great place to learn. You might place your whole rack and use a whole array of different movements and techniques in an 80-foot climb, whereas in Indian Creek, there are lots of 80-foot climbs where you just place number one Camelots over and over and over again and make the same move again and again. So you go there to get super strong and dial in that one move, and you can come here and just learn to handle a wide variety of challenges.